Alright, so the first headline we're going to talk about, well, first thing we're going to talk about is where we're standing in front of, and this is the federal courthouse in Eugene, Oregon. And this is actually Senator Ron Wyden's office, and he himself has been to Fukushima, and he spoke out about it originally, and he's been forced to stand down. He said nothing about the Pacific Ocean collapse and the collapse in the fishing industry here, and the contamination that continues to come upon us from the jet stream in the Pacific Ocean.
It's been placed under the Patriot Act, national security.
Yeah, he's been told to stand down, just like these FBI agents that were told they're sworn to secrecy.
Do you want me to show that?
You know, I'll show it. FBI tried to gag the agents in the Clinton email probe. So instead of testifying and telling the truth, they were sworn to secrecy. I think we should get a picture of this criminal. This criminal needs to go to court in here.
Comey, he's covered up for them a lot, Comey.
Yeah, he deserves to be in the federal courthouse. This is why we're here, because we have a list of people who deserve to be in federal courthouse.
He has a, quote, stellar reputation, but he has soft-shoed. People like him in D.C. because he's considered, he stood up to Bush.
He just let...
That's the thing what happened with him. He was the person who would not let Bush roller coaster when he was sick.
Yeah, they just let Hillary Clinton off the hook because she's a presidential candidate. So you have a presidential candidate running who should be in jail for crimes. Crimes against humanity.
Let us look into the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah.
Not one piece of paperwork. All those billions of dollars.
She's withholding them. She's withholding them in her private library.
Well, she doesn't even care about them. That's peanuts to her.
And secondly, most important, also very important, is that Entergy is trying to sell its Fitzpatrick reactor in New York to Exelon. And Exelon is pretty much, the same people who propped up Barack Obama, and they're now paying their way into a Clean Renewable Energy Act in New York. And this is absolutely insane.
Nuclear is not clean or green.
Yeah.
It cannot be divorced from the use of carbon fuel or methane gas release or global warming or non-global warming. It is one of the most toxic. So we actually allow 32,000 cancers a year, 220,000 birth defects every year per population. I think it is of 1 million people for every 2 rads of radiation in the air. You guys do the math post Fukushima. We've all had to accept higher limits.
Yeah, so if you're in New York, you need to call your senators and state the facts that nuclear is not renewable, uranium mines, no answer for the waste, and you're boiling the Hudson River off daily, millions of gallons a day, and that there's waste, nuclear waste sitting on the tarmacs of Indian Point. So when Exxon is trying to buy its way into the Renewable Energy Act in New York, you need to call your senators and demand this crime against humanity to be stopped. Demand these outrages. They're simply being bought off by Exelon with money. Your senators. They should all be in the federal courthouse, and that's being polite.
What we need to have is science be scientists again and look for solutions instead of telling us this.
So when scientists lie, people die. And everyone.
Radiation is not like a banana. Radon does not work. Radon is just as much harmful, but you can eat 1 million bananas and not get cancer from it.
Yeah, but it only takes one atom of plutonium or cesium, strontium.
Americium. There's no amount of americium that is allowable that is going to be good for you.
And on the same subject,
what?
It's all been softballed.
Yeah.
The whole poisoning of Long Island's aquifer by tritium. They know the Indian Point's been leaking into the river there forever, the entire time. It's a disaster, and everyone is paying into it just for simple money.
Well, everyone wants to pretend that it's not going to harm them. That's the thing. Just stand against it. Yeah.
So anyway, this is where all these people deserve to be, in the federal courthouse. Hillary Clinton, the head of the FBI, and Senator Cuomo, and every one of those senators who is pushing for energy to sell to Exelon and to be nuclear is renewable in New York. These are all crimes.
Those are lazy intellectuals. If they cannot look past it, look at what is being covered up in Fukushima. Just last week it came out that the people at Fukushima said, yes, we did create a massive cover-up, and oh, we're so sorry.
Yeah.
That's actually, they really said that. We are not making that up.
Yeah, that's a news headline.
It's not exaggerated. And so these are serious. Even if you believed them all these many years, they finally admitted it, and we ought to be taking it seriously instead of this business as usual. Oh, the EPA is the person who, they look over the radiation limits, and you know what they're going to do? People, please make your comments. Go to the EPA commentary section. I'll give you the docket number. We have to comment. We have only until July 25th. If there's a nuclear emergency, our government, our EPA, has said they want to raise the radiation limits.
Yes, and the drinking
Some of
water.
them by small amounts, but you know what? Iodine 131 they want to raise by 3,300% plus. That is an outrage. Why are we asking them to even take the... Why are they getting paid to tell us that we're going to be poisoned? They'll tell us long afterwards, oh, by the way, the radiation levels were raised because we had a nuclear meltdown, and we'll let you know when it comes back to normal in 25 years.
That's the problem with all this. It's right in your face. It's right in your face. And no, everyone's accepting corruption. Corruption from the federal courthouses, corruption in the executive branch,
It's
corruption
beyond.
in every
We need
branch.
conscientious objectors. We need people to say, I'm not going to work for these companies if they're going to create these things. We're not going to be willing to get profitable from these things. We need conscientious objectors.
Yeah, I'm glad
because if they feed the machine, they'll keep creating it.
I'm glad you brought that up, because in the opposite of all this nuclear energy, we need a revolution of our infrastructure. And I believe honestly that hemp is honestly the only infrastructure. We need it for paper, we need it for fuels, and honestly it's really the only
There's a
option
lot
at
of,
this point.
exactly, it is a really great, but there are a lot of great options that have been suppressed and are being suppressed because they want to maximize their dollar. This is what I'm saying. We really need conscientious objectors. Ackerman talks about our conscience. It's so true. The people who are the oligarchs, well, you know, the ones that make the difference, that top 1%, we need to reach one person's heart, one person's soul, and them to say, okay, you know what? We're going to look for solutions instead of denying the harm. We're going to figure out ways to protect you until we can figure out how to solve it. And that in itself would be an industry. Our country could be the forefront of that industry. We could, like in Sweden, they built that super underground project, right? That was a big national project that cost a lot but employed a lot and was good.
Let's turn around on us.
Okay.
Can we?
Yes.
I guess we'll have to just manually flip it around. But yes, that's Mr. Nuclear Man.
Hi, I am Mr. Nuclear Man. I will take your children.
Monty Clark.